It's Friday, November 20th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Hey, everyone, thank goodness it's Friday. Boy, I got a great show for you. Lots of stuff to talk about, and a few more changes here in the studio, but you know what to do next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We'll go fly.
Microphone.
We'll go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There's no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Well, I started the show off and thought I was ready to go and went to cue the intro music and it wasn't there. So, yeah, that was fun trying to get that queued up. Hey, everyone, welcome to the show. Again, my name is Todd Cochran. I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content. Of course, check out the archive podcast available via the podcast link on the website. Make sure you get signed up for our newsletter. Our newsletter will get you all of the content that I talk about tonight delivered to your inbox immediately following the show. All the links and all the articles that are referenced, including all the stuff that's been submitted by the Ohana listeners of this show. So if you have a comment on tonight's podcast, if you have any type of any issues, any submissions, any great tips, definitely send them over to geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, you can always call our voicemail hotline. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at area code 619-342-7365. We, of course, want to welcome listeners from 160 countries worldwide, and you too can call into that voicemail hotline. All you got to do is put a +1 in front of that number. You'll find that number on the website at geeknewscentral.com. Lots going on here, really, just a pile of stuff, and pretty happy with way things are going, way things are shaping up with the studio. I've made a few more arrangements tonight, but good old Windows 7 dual screen issue is still really kind of kicking my butt here. What I've got going on, and I think I described it in the last show, was I have my main big screen directly in front of me with a huge 1900 by whatever it's set up, the resolution is, and it gives me lots of screen space to work with and move stuff around during the show. And then I've got a secondary monitor that I wanted to run, basically duplicated what the first monitor was, but at a lower res. And on Windows 7 so far, it's not allowing me to downsize one of the the secondary monitor. So I don't know if I need to put another video card in the machine or what, but going to experiment with it this weekend and hopefully have essentially a better setup as far as being able to cue in the actual video like I can do right now. For those of you that are on Ustream, I actually can bring the screen in, and of course it's up on Geek News Central, but that's not exactly what I want to show you. And it makes it a challenge during the show for me to switch from, or actually drive the browser to actually display everything I wanted to display over there. So anyway, that is a work in progress, and we'll get that figured out. For those of you who listen to the audio portion of this, you guys don't care, and of course you're my primary audience. So 99.99999% of you listen to the show this way. And, of course, I want to thank you for being a continued subscriber here of the Geek News Central podcast. I do have a little bit of a confession to make from the last show. And it was pretty evident when I hit stop on the recording from the last show that something had happened to the audio recording. And this machine's been, probably 200 episodes, I think, for recording audio. Never had a glitch. Some reason, about 17 minutes into the show, last show, it decided that it was going to start an antivirus sweep, and it brought the other application that was running the audio recording software to its knees. And for about 18 minutes, it didn't record anything. And then it started right up and continued on its merry way. And little did you know, the first 18 minutes of the show, really, actually the 18 to about the 30-minute mark, I had some, actually, it was kind of like it was meant to be, because I'd had some issues trying to work the new setup here. So I said, well, that gives me a chance to kind of clean that up. And I went back, and after the show was over, I actually went in and re-recorded an 18-minute segment. That's the first time I've had to do that in, gosh, 200-300 shows at least. So that was something new, and it definitely turned out better the second time around. But the video audience got to see me, kind of scrambling here the last show. So, well, it's just a work in progress. When you've got two hands and all this other stuff around here that I'm trying to integrate, it can be a challenge to work it. The kids are going to be coming on and start helping soon, so that will help. But we're trying to work it into their schedule to make sure nothing's going to be impacted school or any of that other stuff. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of podcasting and things going on around here. Podcast awards status, voting is just really off the charts. This year, I'm pretty amazed that the level of voting is at where it's at even right now, and we've done real well. We got contacted by the folks over at Stitcher.com, and Stitcher came on board and made us a custom channel for the Podcast Awards, and I'm really pleased with that channel. That channel is going to give all those shows that were nominated some great exposure, and then what will happen at the very end when I'm actually switching to announce the winners, they're going to actually make a Stitcher channel that will be winners only. 22 shows will be listed in it, so it'll be great bragging rights for those 22 shows that end up winning at the end. I think we're planning on right now talk to the trophy manufacturer. He sent me the price of the trophies, and whew, inflation is just like anything else. Prices are up on those, but he promises me that he will have them here. And I'm going to look at the actual calendar so I don't give a bad date out on the show, because this will kind of get spread far and wide quickly. He promises to have them FedExed here to the homestead in Honolulu on the 11th of December. So what we will do is we will have an award ceremony on the 12th. We will know who the winners are Tuesday, December 1st. That will be immediately. We'll know who it is. This year, we're not going to announce any winners. We're going to wait to the award ceremony. So we'll have all 22 categories primed and ready to give awards. This year, I'm going to have my own version, I guess, of what you want to call Skyposaurus in here. I'm going to kind of copy some stuff Leo's doing, and we're going to try to have some podcasters actually come in via Skype, and I'll be able to put them up on the screen during the awards ceremony. It should be a lot of fun. We'll see if we can pull it off. I'm actually bringing some more bandwidth into the house to do that. I've been using, up to this point, a clear wire for a secondary connection. I've been using a clear wire box, and it's been giving me trouble. And last 2 or 3 shows on my backup feed where I kind of watch the downstream to make sure everything is making it to the internet, it hasn't been working. So saw an advertisement in the newspaper, a really big discount, and boy, there must be some financial challenges there, but I was able to get a 7 meg down, 1 meg up DSL connection for a little under $30 and per month. They're going to bring that in. It's a month-to-month. I don't have to do any 2-year contract or anything like that. So the actual modem showed up today. The service gets turned on tomorrow. So by the next show, I'll have some more bandwidth in here, and the Clearwire account is going to get shut off based upon the issues I've been having with it. Probably will go 4G on some of my wireless stuff, but I think if the DSL works out, we'll have plenty of bandwidth here to support all of the operations. Those of you that are on Ustream, hey, we've got a new filter in there. We've got a filter in the actual audio line. We had some issues before with a little pop, pop, pop noise that was coming through, And I've got an EB Tech filter in there that arrived from B&H this morning. So I've got that in line, so that audio should be much, much better for those of you on the video side of the house that are watching. Hey, we're still looking for video editors for CES 2010. I've got at least one editor standing by. I would like to have as many as 4 more. If you are a Mac user and you use Final Cut Pro, I'd like to have you just send me an email. We'd like to hire you to help us get our videos out online during CES 2010. We'll be FedExing out disc and stuff to those that are going to be helping us and presetting them up with the roll-ins and roll-outs and all the stuff that will be needed to produce those. But I'd like to have a couple more editors so that we have a faster turnaround time on our videos from CES 2010. All right, what I'm going to do tonight is also start a new contest. The video portion of the show needs a video intro. All the cool kids have it, and I'm not one of the cool kids yet on the video side. Even though we're starting to see small increments of increase in numbers on people that are actually watching the show after I produce it, and put it online at YouTube and Vidler and all those other sites, and starting to see some incremental increases in listeners. So, like our viewers, like to have, and I don't know why anybody want to watch me for an hour and 15 minutes, but that is the that's the goal here, to have a intro. And here's what it has to meet. It's got to be 41 seconds long. It's got to match our intro. We're not asking you to put a new intro music together. We're just looking for a video, a standard def video. I don't want an HD one. Standard def video that will be 41 seconds long that I can play during the intro of the show. And I've got the audio covered. If you want to, you guys know what the intro music is. If you actually want a copy of the intro music, feel free to email me and I'll send it over to you. And you can splice it in. So if you want to, match up stuff as it's happening on the screen. But we're going to have a big prize for this. We're going to give away a cool prize. And I'll announce the prize on the next show. But it'll be significant. It'll be probably as much value as as our audio intro contest. So a couple $100 at least, and we'll let you know about that. I want to talk about the Mophie for a second too before we get into the full tech content. I've been a big fan of the Mophie, and what the Mophie is it's just a battery pack for your iPhone. And for those of you on Ustream, this is half of it. Your iPhone slides into this, and then you put the little cover on, and it makes your iPhone a little heavier, but it's pretty slick. I've had a device now for a while, and about a week ago, this unit, actually not this unit, let me reach back here. This unit quit charging. It wouldn't charge anymore. And no matter what I would do, wiggle the connector, nothing, it died. So, I use my iPhone a lot, and the battery dies very, very quickly. Well, not quickly, but, by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I need to be looking for a charger. So I would always turn on my Mophie, and it would recharge my phone, and I could make it 18 hours with this backpack without having to get to a wall socket. This particular Mophie, which is the same exact model as the one I replaced, won't work. It's brand new. It's got a full charge, and I stick my iPhone in it, and the iPhone basically complains, so this is not a compatible device. And I'm looking right on here. This is a model number iPhone 3G Juice Pack Air. And I'm looking at this model, and it's actually the same thing, iPhone 3G Juice Pack Air, so two of the same devices. This one's dead. $80, by the way, $80 for that. Another $80 for this one, because I couldn't find my receipt, so I can't get it replaced. It's one of those things, you lose your receipt, you have to have a receipt to get it replaced. But this one won't actually charge my phone. So let me show you on the screen. I'll actually read this, and I'll tell you what it actually says. It actually makes me just completely angry. It says on here, here's the warning. See that little, there it goes. This accessory is not made to work with the iPhone. Charging is not supported with this accessory. And whenever it tries to charge, it gives me that big yellow issue, and it doesn't charge nothing. So here's buyer beware. Some people are having great luck with these. Some people aren't. I'm here to tell you that I supported this product for a while, and right now I'm thoroughly disgusted with it because $160 total, one bad one that will charge but won't charge my iPhone, so they might as well be paperweight. So if you're friends with the folks over there at Mophie, I'd encourage them to have them watch this video. I don't know what you guys are doing with your quality control, Mophie, but you need to get your act together. This is unsat, brand new. I got this at Best Buy, so I'm going to take it back and I'm going to see if I can get another one, do an exchange, and then we'll see if the third unit works. But this should not happen for those of you that are thinking about buying a battery pack. Stay away from these for a while, okay? And if you do a search on the internet on Mophie and battery charging issues, you're going to find a pretty big discussion stream about that. Okay, let's, what else have I got here? Oh, I forgot to mention this, when I do the 24-hour podcast, which I think I'm going to do it the same day. You guys know I do the 24-hour podcast once a year. I haven't been really planning for it, but I'm thinking in my head, okay, I'm having this big event on potentially December 12th with the Podcast Awards. Why not combine the 24-hour podcast? I'm going to be here in the studio anyway. Why don't I combine that, the award ceremony, with the 24-hour podcast? What do you guys think? Think I should do that? That way I can start off early in the morning, get to about noon here in Hawaii, have the awards ceremony. We can get that knocked out and out of the way, and then we can go ahead and move into the rest of the content for the next 18 hours or so. I haven't picked basically a charity yet this year on who we're going to give money to. I'll do that here in the next week. But I think we'll do a 24-hour podcast in and around the second week of December. So we're going to be looking for people to have on that. I'll be making that announcement, and we'll make sure we get a full lineup of guests in here to talk to during the full 24 hours. So, yes, I am going to punish myself again just for your entertainment. And this will be the third annual 24-hour podcast. All right, I went way long here in just a regular talking, but I'm going to have a contest tonight for everyone. I'm going to give a 3-month subscription to another product that I'm going to talk about tonight. And if you try this product by next Friday and you send me an email and tell me your best use of it, what you were using it, I'll give you a 3-month subscription to go to my PC. And there goes the phone. I hope someone answers that. Normally people don't call here this late in the evening. And it's probably one of the kids, and I probably should shut that ringer off. But we'll see if someone gets to it, or if the answer machine's going to get it. Well, they got it in 3 rings. Okay. You guys know that GoToMeetings, the longtime sponsor here of the show. But I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about GoToMyPC, just because I've been playing with it a little bit, and actually did a trial myself. And it's pretty amazing product. You know, we've talked for a couple of years here about GoToMeeting, but let's talk about GoToMyPC tonight. How many of you have been like at work and you wanted to get something off your home machine? Or how many of you been at home with a sick kid and needed to get something off the work machine, vice versa? Or you've been on travel somewhere and you needed to reach back to a PC at home? Well, GoToMyPC is a very cool product. And I've been using it quite a bit for exactly that function. Been out with meetings, been doing stuff at a satellite office the last couple of days. But, you know, a typical work week used to be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right? Times have changed. Most of us are spending more and more hours really stuck in our offices or, you know, at home, and we're missing family events and so forth. I'm going to tonight talk about GoToMyPC to access your office computer from home. So you don't have to be at the office to get work done. Work from home early in the morning, late at night, during the weekends, after you've done things you needed to get done. Tonight, one time only, special deal. Our listeners can get GoToMyPC free for 30 days. That's a month of unlimited free access. For this special offer, you must visit GoToMeeting www.gotomypc, gotomypc.com slash, listen to this, podcast. That's gotomypc.com/podcast for a free trial. So what we're going to do tonight is if you go out and do a free 30-day trial with GoToMyPC and you play around with it, you determine what you like or dislike, send me an email at geeknews@gmail.com. I'll pick one of our audience members to get a free, actually on me, a 90-day account with GoToMyPC, and for your use, to use as you wish. But all you got to do is go out there and do a trial, and then tell me what you like about it. No, they don't ask you for a credit card, so don't worry about that. You're not going to have to put a credit card in when you do the trial. And one of you guys are going to get a free 30-day access to it. So a little shout out on that. Of course, the GoToMeeting crowd, don't forget, get those trials too. Let's talk just a little bit about GoDaddy, of course, longtime sponsor here at the show. And really, they're the ones that allow me to keep the lights on in this place. And I know that everyone likes the new lights, and I like the new lights as well. Thanks to the folks over at lightpanels.com. Of course, don't thank them. I got the bill today. But when you're looking for domain names, dedicated servers, virtual dedicated servers, shared hosting accounts, GoDaddy.com is where to go. And when you're searching through their product list and you're picking up products and you're adding it to your shopping cart, don't forget, I'm going to save you a lot of money when you get to that checkout counter. You can save 10% on non-domain orders by using the code TOD. Geek5 will save you 15% off on orders $20 or more. TOD20 will save you 20% on 1-year shared hosting accounts. ComSale, that'll get you .coms at $7.49 on renewals and new .com registrations. These promo codes normally cannot be combined with another offer, folks. So if you get a offer from GoDaddy in email and you click on it and you go over and you pick up a product and then try to use my code, it usually won't work. So to support the show, come over to the site, click on one of the GoDaddy links, get you into the system, and pick up your products and services there. Share the codes with your friends, family members, people that you know, coworkers, and so forth, and help me keep the lights on here at Geek News Central. Thanks for GoDaddy for being a sponsor here since, 2005. Okay, that's it for Jibber Jabber. I need to get into content. I'm really long. I'm sorry. Boy, it really went long tonight. Let me go ahead and bring up the first article. Let's talk about Ray Ozzie. Microsoft exec Ray Ozzie at a lunchtime session with bloggers 3 days ago told bloggers that apps won't make a difference on smartphones. See here. He says apps will not make a difference on smartphones. Let me look here. On my iPhone. Okay, I got the first page. It's the normal apps, and there's 1, 2, 3. There's 16 apps, 16 applications per page. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 full pages. That's 64 apps plus another 8, 9, 10. I've got 74 apps loaded on my iPhone. Some of them are games my kids play. 74 apps. And he says to his PDC conference that apps won't make a factor on smartphones. Where's he been? Has he been, like, sleeping? Has he been under a rock? I don't get this. I really don't. I don't understand what he's even thinking about. Because last time I checked, apps were like the big thing for all phones. Android, Palm. He's got it wrong. He really, really does. Anyway, we'll see what makes of Windows Mobile. I think that Windows Mobile's days are numbered. Hey, how many of you are using Dropbox? Are you guys familiar with Dropbox? I've been hearing a lot about Dropbox lately. And the most recent article I heard about Dropbox the most recent blog post I read about Dropbox is over on Dave Weiner's website at Scripting News. And he says that Dropbox is what he probably considers the product of the decade. And I think that's a pretty big statement. So if you're using Dropbox out there, and I'm not, let me know what you think about Dropbox. I'd like to hear from you on that. Along with that, Dave, about 5 days ago, wrote an article on is it time for personal servers? And I'm probably one of those rogue guys that ran personal servers back when it was, I'm thinking back Windows NT time. That's, going back a ways. And, I did a lot of things that were probably my cable company at the time didn't want me to do. Ran an email service through it, web servers, had an FTP account, did everything that they didn't want you to do. And I went to great lengths to make sure that they never saw that machine either. I learned all their IP routes, everything, so that when basically their machine, it would scan the network, would come across, it would basically see, nothing's there. And but is it time for personal servers? I'm looking at the horsepower that this new machine I bought with Windows 7 on it, with with 8 cores, and what it's doing, and the power it has underneath the hood. I think it's time. I think most of us have enough technical know-how that we should be able to access the large majority of our stuff on our computers and have different types of services available. We can there's a lot of business models out there for personal servers, and we'll see what happens with time. But anyway, good article by Dave on his website. Hey, let's talk a little bit about over here at let's talk about Sony. Sony has decided to launch its own music store. And it's going to launch an online store selling music, movies, books, and other downloadable applications for mobile products. This is big. They've taken a page from Apple's playbook, and they're going to be out launching a store. Now, the question is, will anyone buy anything from the store? I don't know. How many of you have a device from Sony right now? How many of you bought one of their players? I'm going to have to reserve judgment, I guess, and see what they've really got planned here. But they haven't done online media stuff very well. Maybe they're starting to wake up, and maybe they will. But over time, they just haven't done a real good job with that. So we'll see what happens with Sony, and see if they can use software to their advantage and not struggle against it. A good article today by Paul Graham over at paulgraham.com, essentially talking about Apple. And I think we're at a tipping point with the iPhone and the App Store and developers. We're continuing to see every day huge numbers of developers say, I've had it, I'm done, I'm walking away from developing for the iPhone. Now, where one walks away, probably 25 jump back in. But he makes a couple of comments here. He says, how did Apple get into this mess? Their fundamental problem is that they don't understand software. Most of us are going to sit back and say, they understand software. Look at their operating system. They make a great interface. But he goes on to say, they treat iPhone apps the way they treat music. They sell through iTunes. Apple's the channel. They own the user. If you want to reach users, you do it on their terms. Goes on to say the record labels agreed reluctantly, but this model doesn't work for software. It doesn't work for an intermediary to own the user. The software business learned this in the early 80s when companies like VisiCorp show that although the words software and publisher fit together, the underlying concept don't. And he goes on more to talk about the mentality and how software developers work. For example, our plugin, our podcast plugin, PowerPress. If we have an issue, if someone emails us and said, "Hey, we found a bug," Angelo can fire up his programming application, get into the code, make the fix, send it to the WordPress site for update the PowerPress, and essentially update the app on the WordPress site, rev the software, and boom, we're up with a fix. Could be in an hour or 20 minutes. But even though they can do that, we can do that way, the iPhone App Store doesn't lend itself to that. So programmers are used to getting, bug fixes fixed and getting updates out. And so it works against the mentality of the actual developers out there. This is a great article. I hope every executive at Apple reads this, and maybe they'll wake up and have a clue. Lots of stuff came out of Google today too, and we'll talk about that a little later in the show. But they've got some lessons to learn here from what Apple did. Hey, automatic captions in YouTube, and for those of you that are hearing impaired, or those of you that have family members that are hearing impaired, this is going to be huge because Google is going to be introducing on YouTube a caption service in which they do automatic translation of videos. Now, it's not perfect, but the automatic captions are being turned on, and if you're hearing impaired, you're going to be able to see, the translation of the video right on the screen below the normal video play mode. Now, they'll improve this over time, but up to this point, hearing impaired folks have really had no other way to, besides maybe reading the lips on the individual that it was speaking, or to hope that the actual vendor did the actual, the scripting for it. It's expensive to do that. Most people don't. So we'll see how this goes over time. Now, the only additional factor that's in this is that the YouTube auto capture not only helps the hearing impaired, but it's going to help those that are searching for information as well. So if Google goes through and takes my hour and 15-minute podcast, and it actually goes through and tries to capture everything and comes up with keywords like Microsoft, Apple, Sony, whatever I'm talking about, and people are searching for that on the YouTube website, it raises the potential of my video actually being found. Even though you can put that information in the description, it's going to add some benefit there, especially if they can come up with a good enough algorithm to have it contextual, where I'm speaking 4 or 5 words and it puts that together and people search 2 or 3 of those words and it is able to find the content. So we'll see what happens with this on the auto cap. Now, the big news, of course, out of over the last couple of days has been talking about the Google phone. There's a very good chance here that, and it's really heavily rumored at this point, that the Google phone, a Google-branded Android phone that has the Google name on it, will hit the market in early 2010. Google has wanted to have a platform where it's not essentially hijacked by T-Mobile or Verizon. They want to be able to have a Google experience on a phone, and it's rumored that the Google phone may be data only. The voice IP will be essentially you'll be doing everything via voice IP, calling and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens here with this, but and it's also rumored that the phone may run in the 700 megahertz spectrum if the FCC auctions it and Google is able to get their hands on it. But it could be tied to Google Voice as well. So we'll see what happens with this. But very, very cool stuff on the Google front. Now, that's not the only big Google announcement today, so we'll get into some more news a little bit later in the show. So how many of you go out and buy just a pure Google phone that they control the interface? I don't know. I don't know if I would, because if they do what Apple has done and lock down the experience and control the apps that go into what they would maybe launch as an app store, could be challenging. It really, really could. They could end up with the same egg on their face as the folks at Apple did. But Google's bigger. They can definitely afford to hire more people and more bodies at it and throw more technology at it. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, interesting news here in Hawaii, of all places. You guys may not know it, but the founder of eBay is here from the islands. And obviously he has made a lot of money with eBay. And he's starting to do some new ventures. And he announced 2 days ago that he's going to launch a service called Peer News. And it's going to be specifically for Honolulu or for Hawaii. He's actually going to hire a professional editor and then bring on journalists and stringers and reporters to basically encourage citizens to have greater civic participation through media. And they're going to start this here in Honolulu as a test bed, which would be kind of cool. And maybe we can get the Geek News Central podcast, being that I'm here in Hawaii, up on their network in a tech channel or something. So we'll see what happens with that. But they're going to actually pay folks to do this. So this is good. We'll see what Perry has planned, and have the link up in the show notes on this. Okay, the shuttle has docked with the International Space Station. Matter of fact, they did a spacewalk today. Everything went good with that. They got a lot of work done. They actually finished like 2 hours ahead of time on their primary task, and actually did some catch-up stuff. So everything's going good with the shuttle, and they're making great progress on the International Space Station and dropping off 27,500 pounds of spare parts. Being reported late this evening that Yahoo is going to be indexing Twitter as well. They're going to be jumping on the search bandwagon here, and they're going to try to keep their eroding search property from eroding more. So beginning actually today, Yahoo is going to mine the short messages posted on Twitter to find fresher information about hot topics. And this is a move, of course, by Microsoft as well recently. Let's talk a little bit about an article I found over on webdesignledger.com. For those of you that have Macs, I found a pretty cool listing of 14 free Mac apps for web designers on a budget. So those are the, economic times are tough. And, of course, most of us know about GIMP. GIMP is a great open source photo editing program. As a matter of fact, it's what I'm running on my Windows 7 machine. It's also for the Mac. But it goes and talk about GIMP, CyberDuck, Civen-X, Paparazzi, FileZilla, Text Wrangler, Inkscape. Some of these are programs many of you Mac users are probably familiar with. Simple CSS. One that I wasn't familiar with is one called VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a virtualization app that allows Mac users to set up Windows environment on their machines. Then they've got one that's called MiniNode. It's a mind mapping application. So a whole bunch of apps here that for all of you on a budget, for web designers, a great number of tools that you can download and install on your Mac PC. Let's talk just a little bit about quality in laptops. I was talking with Angelo, our lead programmer, or actually our CIO at Raw Voice today, and he's had some challenges getting a brand new Dell that he ordered delivered. Keeps being delayed, and he had actually canceled the order at Dell and went over and actually picked up a laptop at HP, and was asking me what I thought about HP. And I've owned both Dell and HP machines recently. Matter of fact, the Windows 7 desktop that I just bought is an HP machine. I've got a couple of Dells around here too as well, so I got a kind of a mix. And talking about reliability and so forth, and it kind of cracked me up because tonight I came up with an article I found on Ars Technica talking about quality control on portable laptops, and a company called Square Trade. It's a company that offers extended warranties. I know you get in the checkout line. You want an extended warranty, sir? They try to get that extra $200 out of you during the sale. But they're an extended warranty company, and they did basically an announcement today talking about laptop longevity, and it was based on 30,000 customer experiences, and the numbers show, according to this single group only, on a sampling of 30,000 customer experiences, that Apple is fourth in terms of reliability, as machines from Apple suffered a smidgen over 10% failure rate over a 2-year period, and an estimated 17% rate over 3 years. And that's pretty shocking. I've got my MacBook Pro that I bought it was the first one with an Intel chip in it. It's going strong. Haven't had an issue. My wife's MacBook Pro is just about approaching a year, no issue. This one here is, 3 years old now or something like that. But what surprised me the most here was I've had huge issues with Sony machines, and Sony, Toshiba, Asus, probably pronounced that wrong, Asus, A-S-U-S, all had lower 2-year and estimated 3-year failure rates. with, believe it or not, with Asus taking the top spot at just under 10%. And an estimated 15.6% over 3 years. So not a big delta between Asus and Apple, but I never really associated quality with those particular machines. So I guess that it's different. Hey, by the way, those of you watching the video, there's something new tonight that I didn't mention. If you figured out what it is at this point in the video, email me. Got a $50 gift certificate for somebody on the next show that figures out what is different in the show tonight. That's obviously different. That has different than previous shows. You should be able to figure it out if you've been watching a little bit. So email me at geeknews@gmail.com. Audio listeners, give you a chance. Come on in. We're at the, well, I'm not going to tell you what minute mark we're at. You guys can look at your iPods. But anyway, what's your guys' success rate been with laptops? How much have they failed? Which ones have you had the most issue with? I won't buy Sony laptops anymore because I blew more of those up than anything else, and just died on me. Okay, this next one is kind of non-technical in nature, but I didn't even know this was possible. There's a company called QChex. It's QCHEX. Stay away from these folks, okay? This is an online check service the FTC is trying to shut down. Matter of fact, they're going to impose daily fines on them until they essentially shut down. And then I guess today, they launched a QCheck clone with the same questionable policies. What they're doing is anyone with any check, if you got, okay, your buddy comes over and writes you a check for, gives you $10 for his half of the $20 pizza, and you have his check, you could send his check in, and they will send you a box of checks of your buddy's checks. They basically were taking any type of check and basically reprinting and sending it back to the person that sent it in, even if it wasn't the same person's name. That is amazing. Now, there's a judge involved in this action. He barred QCheck operators from continuing to run the company on a similar service without employing the proper authentication methods, and they're supposed to pay a fine of over $500,000. So this blows me away that you could just send your friends or score a check somewhere and they'll send you 250 blank checks, even if you're not the owner of the account. I can see why the FTC wants to shut them down. So be careful out there, okay? That's one of the reasons why I think I have not wrote a check. Well, I wrote business checks, but I don't think I've wrote any personal checks in years. I use a share check card with my checking account. I know many of you probably do the same thing. I pay all my bills with a credit card, and the reason I do, get those mileage points, baby. Gotta get the mileage points. I pay my mortgage with my credit card, and you have a mortgage in Hawaii, that can rack up to some serious freaking flyer miles, and just pay it off every month. And that's the key. You got to make sure you do that. So actually, what I do is I have one card that I do for all my regular bills, and then I pay those. I know what the payment's going to be, so I automatically schedule a payment 4 days before the bill comes due. They hate it. Matter of fact, did I talk about Citibank? I have a Citibank card that I've had for years, and no balance on it. And I've been a customer with them since '83. They sent me a letter telling me that my interest rates were going up to 19.99% because I hadn't been using my card. You know what that conversation was like? It was a one-way conversation. I no longer own a Citibank card. I basically told them they could take that credit card and, yep, they could. I would shred it. But have you guys been getting those? I got a great credit score, but I guess because I wasn't using it, or I was using it and paying it off, they were going to penalize me. 19.9? They're insane. insane. Never. I will never. I will cut every credit card I have up before I pay that kind of interest rate on even a. It just no, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And if you're out there and you're having that happen, revolt against these companies. Okay. I've gotten off track too many times tonight. All right, Microsoft Azure to go live in January for pay in February. The Azure platform will have its first paying customers in February 2010, marking Microsoft's entry into the commercial cloud computing market. So we'll see what happens with this, but they're going to be available full capacity starting in January 1st, and it's currently operating as a free community technology preview. Anyone using this at all to rent any services? Love to hear from you if you have. Tell me, how it's working out for you. We talked a little bit on the last show about the discount clubs. I was scouring my credit cards looking for any of those charges. Man, I encourage all of you to do the same. Make sure you look at your bills. If you're not getting a paper bill, get online. If you bought anything through Continental, Orbitz, there's hundreds and hundreds of sites that try to give you those little special discount offers, those $10 coupons or whatever it is afterwards. It's amazing. These folks are making billions of dollars on unsuspecting people month after month. It's just shocking what they've been able to get away with. And Congress is about ready to bring the hammer down on these guys. And the report that just came up this week was amazing. All right, Pirate Bay. Boy, I tell you, I saw this big thing. Pirate Bay shuts down tracker, the death of Pirate Bay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, where are they going to pop up next? Well, they didn't even shut down. The Pirate Bay simply announced that it was killing its popular BitTorrent tracker, now relying instead on what they're calling the truly decentralized DHT protocols. And I'm not a peer-to-peer guy, so I'm not really familiar with this. But it's going to handle file locations and downloading for the Pirate Bay. It's all about removing centralized point of control. So they're not running a tracker no more. But now they basically say, okay, we're not hosting any of this stuff. None of this. They've been able to, essentially beat the rap that has been haunting them. But the tracker is going to remain down indefinitely, and the system's other primary function of indexing will remain available, but will now rely on a distributed peer-to-peer hash system that does not need centralized trackers. And I'm looking at this tracker, and you can't even tell where this thing is even hosted at, but apparently it does it, still have access to everything you had access to before. They're just doing it a little bit different. All right, if you live in California and you got an old TV set, keep it hid, okay? Energy-hungry television sets will soon be banned in the Golden State. In a landmark move, state legislators have announced that they are banning high-energy consumption television sets. Apparently, 25% of TVs being sold today would not be eligible for sale starting in 2011. They're going to make the standard even tougher in 2013 when they require all sets to be 50% more efficient than they are today. Guess what? You're going to have to go to Nevada, or you're going to have to drive up to Utah or somewhere else to buy a TV. You'll have to smuggle it across the state line to get it into the state. Instead of having orange and fruit checks at the California border, they will have television checkpoints. Oh my goodness, what will they think up next? Okay, hey, if you want to explore Mars and have a little fun, the U.S. Space Agency needs your help to explore Mars. New Citizen website went live on Tuesday. It's available at beamartian.jpl.nasa.gov, and there's thousands of images of Mars, and they need our help. They want us to go through, and they've got it set up as kind of a game, and this might be, I haven't played it yet, so I'm going to check it out and see if it might be something cool for my kids to do. Might as well help NASA out a little bit, right? And the game, as you count impact craters, counts there's a variety of things to have you look for. And what they're saying over at JPL is we need the next generation explorers. So Michelle Viotti from the agency's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which oversees Mars missions. And they're accomplishing something more important for NASA. There's so much data coming back from Mars. Having a wider crowd look at the data, classify it, and help understand its meanings is very important. This is off the BBC or at bbc.co.uk, and of course in their science section. So very cool stuff. Smart by NASA to source crowd some help to really kind of explore Mars. And you might be the one. Yes, this will be good for everyone to go searching through those images, because you never know what you're going to find on one of those images that hasn't been looked at yet. All right, imagine and I don't even, here we go again. Me and my superb English skills. Tiburon, 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 California, is a little place on a peninsula in and around, so I guess it's just north of San Francisco. So someone up there is going to call the show and say, "You're an idiot. This is how it's pronounced." But anyway, the town council voted on Wednesday by 4-0 to install cameras and photograph every single car that enters or leaves the town. Apparently, there's not a lot of streets in and out of this little hamlet, but they want to make sure that the thieves are rolling up in there and probably ripping off the trendy people that live in that nice little suburb. They want to make sure that they know who's come in and who went out. Now, wow. This is, this sounds like Britain. It doesn't sound like California. Photograph every car. What do you guys think of that? How would you like to have that being done in your town? Because you know what's going to happen? Some divorce case, some husband or some wife is going to say, "I know she went out of town." And they're going to subpoena the records from the police department, and they're going to determine if someone was leaving town. Boy. I don't know about that one. We'll see. All right, Twitter's made a big change, folks. When you log into Twitter, it says, "What are you doing?" Well, as of today, the message has changed. It's changed to "What's happening?" So the Washington Post dedicated a whole 500 words to this, because they have changed from "What are you doing?" to "What's happening?" So they're trying to, you see, it's a kind of a smart move. It's definitely a big change for Twitter. So we'll see here what happens next. All right, over on Slashdot, this is so funny. Any of you have traveled overseas? When you travel overseas, what you always see is, how should I put it? You can buy anything. You can buy movies. You can buy books that have been reprinted without permission. You can buy a whole bunch of stuff. Lots of copyright violations. But I guess the Chinese Author Society has demanded that Google present a resolution plan by the end of year to quickly handle compensation for Chinese authors who the books the U.S. company has scanned without permission. Yes, they are accusing Google of violating copyright, and they're asking them to pay. I think, okay, that's okay. So why don't we ask the Chinese government to crack down and make every person that is stolen software made by American companies to pay up for their copyright violation as well. It's just hypocritical. Not hypocritical. Hypocritical. It really, really is. All right, we're on Tech Dirt. We talked about newspapers dying. In going free, the London Evening Standard has doubled circulation while slashing cost. They essentially made their newspaper free. It's doubled their circulation, and they've also decreased their distribution costs. So it used to cost 30 pence to distribute a single newspaper. Now it costs just 4 pence per paper. And, of course, what does that mean? They've doubled their circulation, reduced their costs massively, and at the same time, Since they've doubled their circulation, what does that do? That drives advertisements in the newspaper. They drives news advertisements. Guess what can happen? They can pay salaries. So while Robert Murdoch and his crew look to set up paywalls, the folks over in the UK at the London Evening Standard have figured out that, hey, that's just, sometimes free is the way to go to build a readership. If I could get the New York Times for free, even if I could just get like 2 or 3 sections, I would read it from cover to cover. I would. Just because usually there's good materials in there. Wall Street Journal, probably same way. Would I pay attention to the advertising? Absolutely. So, I don't know. Will it work here in the United States? I don't know. All right, here's a big scam. And I don't know, this kind of crosses over into more medical than science. But apparently there's a growing scandal in the pharma industry. Big surprise there, right? Of course, we've had big scams in the financial district. So, of course, here it comes in pharma. But apparently there's a lot of growing scandals in pharma and publishing where big pharma companies would produce a fake medical journal with a stamp of approval from big publisher houses, and to make it look like their drugs had a lot more scientific support than they really did. Now, isn't this scary? Your doctors are reading, the doctors you go to are reading this. And they got professors at colleges to basically put their names on the works, even though they didn't write them. And these are just puff pieces for the pharma industry. Can you believe that? Can you believe it's greed? This is amazing. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. There's big money in pharmaceuticals, and when there's big money involved, billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in some drugs, you get a doctor to start prescribing that. And the doctor's reading this, what he considers a medical journal, and yet it's just a puff piece. It's a big advertisement. Think about the impact that has to you and I when you're going out to, see your doc. Now, they've cracked down on a lot of this free drugs and stuff they give doctors to give away as samples and all this stuff. That's really been cracked down on. But this, medical school professors, if they find these guys, they need to fire them. They should not be allowed to teach in any college in this country. Talk about ethics. Talk about oh man, it just makes my blood boil. Really, really does. Now, how many of you have had pictures printed at Walmart? We've talked about in the past how Walmart has stopped people from printing family photos due to copyright laws. Well, I guess it's on the rise again. Folks over at Tech Dirt have a good article on it. Hey, don't take a picture with any sign in it that could be copyrighted, because Walmart probably won't. It probably will not print it. Oh, if you have a funeral, don't take a picture at a funeral either. That's what the latest one was. Pictures taken during a funeral, copyrighted. See, I'm dead. If you're dead, someone takes a picture of the proceedings. How is that copyright? I don't get it. I really, really don't. I don't even want to. I'm so sick and tired of talking about the ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC that I'm almost getting ready to ban articles about talking about them. But because I love going to a restaurant, to a bar, to a club, and hearing a live band play, I just have to say something. Don't you guys enjoy going out and hearing a great cover band? Jeffrey Powers, who does the Geekazine podcast, he plays in a band. I don't know the full genre of music that they play, but I'm sure they play a few covers. And he does a great podcast as well. But apparently the ASCAP is going after everybody. Mom and pop stores, restaurants, anyone that has anybody playing live music, and basically tell them, you need to pay up. Because we know that someone's going to come in and play music. They're going to play a cover song. You must pay. Well, what's happening is there's a huge decline in the United States right now on venues that are bringing in live music. So some of these independent artists have started to, the folks that are playing in some of these places have started to register their music with ASCAP. Say, okay, you're not. I can't play music in places. So at least if someone plays it somewhere else, I'm going to get paid. It's really not that. They basically say no, unless you're a big star, you're not going to get tracked or paid. So really, it's a horrible situation. And when are these groups going to learn? Really? All right. Have you got a one of these movies? 10,000 BC, Rush Hour, Full Metal Jacket, Christmas Story, Elf, Speed Racer, Body of Lies, The Golden Compass, The Orphanage, Superman Returns, 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Wedding Singer, Totally Awesome Edition, Swordfish, Rumor Has It, Final Destination, Beetlejuice, Taking Live, Wyatt Earp, Collateral Damage, Training Day, Dark City Director Cut, The Shining, Pride and Glory, Constantine, The Lost Boys, Wedding Crashers, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You got any of these DVDs? They're all by Warner. Warner has a very interesting thing going on where you can package up your DVDs if you're one of like 40 titles here. You can go over to a website called dvd2blue.com. You can package those up, go to the website, put in some information, send them over to Warner. You got to mail them your disc. And then for a low sum of $7.95 to $9.95, and of course, $5 in shipping. All right, $9.95, $5, $14.95. You can send them your old DVDs that you paid $20 for, and you can get them reissued in Blu-ray for $14 a piece. Some of these movies, I'm going to wait till they're in a sale rack somewhere and they say 99 cents Blu-ray. That's how I'm going to get DVDs. $15? Are they kidding? Are they kidding? Will anybody do this? Will anybody do this? geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline 619-342-7365. All right, there's a hack out to bring Adam back to using Mac OS 10.6.2. So if you've got a Mac Hackintosh, get this patch. You can start running again. Report by Steve Ballmer says Windows 7 is selling like hotcakes. They're doing double the numbers of any recent OS sale, which is good. So we'll see what happens here. I'd love to see the earnings report here at the end of the year for Microsoft. American Airlines. You fly American Airlines? I don't. I fly United. But sadly, I may have to consider changing because now you can find out if you got Wi-Fi on American Airlines flight by going to a special page on a special American Airlines website. It's called AAWiFiWidget.com. Again, AAWiFiWidget.com. You can put in your flight number or departure airport, and you can find out if there's going to be Wi-Fi on your airplane or not. So they've got connectivity on Boeing 767-200s, MD-80s, and soon their 737 fleet will be converted and have Wi-Fi available for domestic travel. All right, the last couple articles here that we're going to go into is going to talk about the Google Chrome operating system announcement today. This is huge, 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 huge. Google has basically said they're going to have an operating system in a year that will be released that you'll be able to run on a low-end machine that will do nothing but it'd be an operating system that is a browser. And really, that kind of sums it up. It'll be an OS that will be nothing, will boot quick. It'll load up. Browser will be available. You'll be able to get on the internet, do whatever you do on the internet. No apps, no programs, no nothing. It is a operating system that is a browser. And that's it. That's essentially the announcement of it. They gave a bunch of examples. They talked about how they're building this thing for speed, open source, so they're going to have the community involved. They're working on security, talking about not being able to prevent malware from getting in, talking about how firmware updates are going to happen. Lots of cool stuff. I got like 5 articles I'm going to link up to you tonight that you'll definitely want to check out with all the action if you didn't miss it already, if you didn't see it already. Lots of good info here, but exciting stuff coming out of Google. And also some questions about what I want, what I need. And really, I think the biggest challenge is the internet's going to have to get a lot more faster for all of us for this to really work. Now, the question I ask is, I travel with 2 laptops, and one of them I just use as a browser. So for me, it would work because I would just use the browser to get the show stuff ready, and then the other laptop would be to record stuff. But at the same time, if I'm just a normal individual that travels with 1 laptop and a phone, why would I need Google Chrome OS? The only thing I can think of is maybe I want one of these by my stove in the kitchen to look up recipes, something for the kids to use around the house. I don't know. Research stuff. What would you use this for? And could you give up your other applications that you currently have? Love to hear your feedback on this, geeknews@gmail.com. Those of you that have Windows Home Server, Power Pack 3 is rolling out November 24th. Full integration for Windows 7 is coming, so look forward to that. Pandora, this is big. This should make all of you that have websites sit up and take notice. 24% of all Pandora users signed up on a mobile phone. The Pandora's total user base is currently 38 million people and growing. Pandora has been installed on 13 million smartphones. I've never used Pandora before, but this is an absolutely mind-blowing number. That's adoption like I would have never imagined. 24% adoption of its user base. If you have an online website, that's got to sit you back in your seat and you have to rub your chin and say, it sure did me. I'm honest with you. It really, really did. So that's a big one. All right. If you live in Austin, you know you've got Sprint 4G there. And I'm looking at a speed test. This is the question I've been asking. All right. A Verizon test. With on a Verizon eVideo card, the gentleman was able to get 1.07 megs down, 0.3 megs per second up, ping rate of 263. On Sprint PCS, 4.55 megs down, 0.42 megs up. They're promising speed will get better over the next couple of weeks in Austin. You know, what? How come these companies don't get it that we need more upspeed? 0.42? If all I'm getting is 0.42 up, there's no reason to upgrade. That speed has got to increase. That needs to go to at least a meg up. I'm happy with the 4.55 down, but only 0.42? Any of you on 4G, send me your speedtest.net results. I want to see them. I want to see what you guys are doing for 4G. All right, last article of the night. And this is a big one. The Electronic Frontier Foundation has decided to go after Volo Media's podcasting patent. The title is EFF tackles, and this is their quote, not mine. EFF tackles bogus podcasting patent, and we need your help. The article says, podcasting patent, patenting podcasting. You have got to be kidding. Basically, what they want to do is they're looking for prior art, and they're going to go after this patent. And they're going to try to get it busted. So if you have any input, any prior art, I'll have this link up in the show notes. Definitely check this out. Don't want to be in Volo Media's shoes at this point, because the EFF is going to go after them hard, and they will have to defend, and that will cost money. So we'll see. But the EFF, yes, absolutely. And those of you who are watching video, you know what I said. Okay. All right, let me see what we don't have no voicemails tonight. 619-342-7365 is the call-in number. 619-342-7365 is the call-in number. Got a couple of emails here. Got an email from Bree. She says, short URLs, keep them out of trouble. And this is from a computer news, a government computer news magazine, talking about short URLs and the issues with them. You guys got to read this one. It's a few tips on keeping short URLs from spelling big trouble. Thanks, Bree, for this. This is a good one. Really is worthy read for everyone to check out. James says, Todd, we trust you point blank. Enough said. And this was talking about the Twitter ads. So I don't know if to take that no, I'm not going to do it, or we trust you no matter what you do. I'll be honest. The money was pretty good. But I have decided not to send in the RFP for the Thanksgiving period twittering for a different group. It was pretty good. It really was. It would have helped out on here on Christmas. It really would have. So I just let you guys know I took one for the team. It was hard to walk away from that. It really was. But the Twitter, I just, it wasn't hard. But it would have made, it had been good for a couple of card payments. Anyway, we'll move on. All right, I got an email from Yitz. He said, hey, Todd, how badly do you want this as your next laptop? You guys have got to check this out. Yitz, I don't know if I want it or if I could actually believe it's going to be able to be built. When you guys see this, I want to hear everyone. You guys got to watch this video. I think you're going to agree with me. If you're not astonished, first of all, do you all think that this is going to be possible? I can't give away the punchline here. You're going to have to watch the video from the show notes. Okay? Got to check it out. Yet, I think the packaging, the way it's being carried is kind of but love the design. Oh my goodness. If they could do it, it's probably going to sell very well. Got an email from Bruce, and basically Bruce said, Todd, don't do it on the Twitter ads. Okay, Bruce, we're already decided not to. Got an email from Bob, and it says, LRO Photos reveal fake movie set on the moon. Okay, Bob, we'll check this one out. I will definitely look at it here, okay? And got another email from Bree saying, which browser is the riskiest? And she says, Jeffrey may beat you on this one since he reads government computer news, but this sure is to raise the anger of some geeks. And yeah, I read this. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So, Bree, thanks for another good one. Appreciate that. And also, Daniel, absolutely. I linked to the wrong video on YouTube. Actually, I didn't. What's going on there is I have a channel on YouTube, and you guys get the show notes delivered in the email. And really, it takes me about 6 hours from the time the show's done before the video is actually up on YouTube. So you get to see the old one. So you got to give me a little more time to get it up. By the way, you know this new machine? You know how long it took me to compress the video, or actually convert it down? It used to take my old machine about 4 hours, 23 minutes, folks. I was able to take the 16 gig raw video file that's recorded by the TriCaster, transferred. It took me almost as long to 10 minutes to transfer it onto my machine. 23 minutes to convert it down. I actually started uploading before I went to bed on the last show. Beautiful. If I'd have knew that, I'd had this new machine in here weeks ago. So, Daniel, yeah, don't worry. Just have to give me a little patience here. Got an email from Timothy, my review of the movie 2012 and thoughts about the Mayan prediction. I think we talked about this on the last show. And I think the one from Andrew as well is a dupe. So, anyway, that's it. Email me, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is +1 619 342 7365. Find those contact information at geeknewscentral.com. All of it you've hung out here on YouTube the whole time. Thanks. And if you've hung out on YouTube to the end, let me know. Or if you hung out on Blip to the end, just email me and say, I watched you to the end. I want to know how many people are actually watching the video to the end. If you've been here on Ustream the whole time, you don't have to send me an email. I know you're here. But for the rest of the audio crowd, I know you're probably getting sick of me talking about the video stuff, but I love you guys the most. Don't worry. The audio stuff is not going to change. And once I get work through this process, the video presence within the audio show is going to dwindle. But I hope you guys have patience with me in working through this new process and putting videos up online. Again, it's a long-term strategy of mine to be ready for the next evolution of where things are going for new media in the next couple of years. And I want to be there and be prepared and have everything down and have a highly polished show. And I thank you for hanging out with me. As always, thank you for staying subscribed. You're a great Ohana, you're a great family. And look forward to bringing another show next week on Tuesday. Tuesday release for those who want to watch the video, Monday night on Ustream. And until then, everyone take care. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there, and aloha.